1. Introduction. My name is Daisy. I am 41 years old. I live a very quiet life now. I own a small bakery in the city center. I work hard every day. I wake up when it is still dark outside. I bake bread and sweet cakes for my customers. I like my work very much. When I finish work, I go home quickly. I enjoy the silence of my apartment. I am divorced. I ended my marriage a few years ago. I learned how to be happy alone. My routine is simple and calm. My schedule is fixed. I open the bakery at 7 in the morning. I am home by 6 in the evening. I eat dinner alone. Then I read until 10 o'clock. This routine helped me feel safe after the divorce. I needed structure in my life. I learned that silence is a type of freedom. The quiet is important to me. It is like a safe place. This quiet life changed 2 weeks ago. A new person moved into the apartment right next to mine. His name is Leo. He is a young man. He is only 24 years old. He has dark, messy hair and a friendly face. He moved in and brought noise into my quiet world. Leo plays a musical instrument. He plays the violin. I did not know he was a musician before he arrived. Every afternoon and evening, I hear the music. It comes clearly through the thin wall between our apartments. The sound is loud. It breaks the silence I love very much. The music is often beautiful and sad, but it is always a disruption. I cannot read my books in peace anymore. The music makes my focus difficult. I feel annoyed because my peace is gone. I worked hard to build this quiet life after my divorce. Now, a young man is playing music loudly next door. But the annoyance is not the only feeling I have. I also feel curiosity about him. I wonder about the young man who plays this music every day. Why does he play so late? I hear him moving sometimes, and I try to imagine his life. I know he is much younger than me. He seems full of energy. I am 41, and I feel older than my years sometimes. I try not to listen to the music, but I always do. The sound pulls my attention. I feel a strong mix of two feelings: anger about the noise and interest in the player. 2. The meeting. I needed to bring flour to my apartment. The box was very heavy. I carried it up the stairs slowly. I am 41 years old and my back started to hurt. I stopped on the 3rd step to rest. It was a big box and I could not see over the top of it. I thought I might drop it soon. Suddenly, the door next to mine opened. Leo stood there. He wore simple clothes, a loose t-shirt and jeans. He saw the box and did not speak. He just walked over and took the box from my hands easily. His arms were strong. He did not ask if I needed help. He simply helped me. "Let me help you, Daisy," he said. He knew my name because he saw it on my mailbox. I felt a little surprised and embarrassed. He carried the heavy box the rest of the way. He walked into my apartment and put the box down in the kitchen. I offered him a cup of tea. We sat at my small kitchen table. I felt very nervous. I looked at him. He is a young man, only 24 years old. I have wrinkles near my eyes. I felt old next to him. But Leo did not look at my wrinkles. He looked directly at my eyes. His look was serious and kind. I felt a strong connection when he looked at me like that. It was a new feeling for me. We started to talk. He told me about his music school in the city. He said he practiced the violin every day. He talked about his dreams for the future. I listened carefully. His voice was soft. Then he asked me about my life. He asked about the bakery and what my favorite cakes were to bake. I talked about my love for bread and the quiet routine of my job. I usually do not talk much about myself. We drank 2 cups of tea. The time went fast. I realized something important during that meeting. Leo's presence was calming. He did not rush me when I spoke. For many years, I lived alone and felt invisible. But when Leo listened to me, I felt seen. I felt truly seen for the first time since my divorce. It was a wonderful and strange feeling to share that moment with my new young neighbor. I hoped he would come back soon. 3. The problem. The building was small. Many people lived there, and they saw everything. After Leo and I drank tea, the talking started. I saw Mrs. Higgins often. She lived on the floor below me. She looked at me with a sour face. She looked at Leo too. She did not like what she saw. People were gossiping about us. I felt bad. I felt ashamed of myself. I am 41 years old. Leo is only 24. It is a big difference. I thought, this is foolish. I am too old for him. I need to stop this now. I worried about what everyone thought. I worried about the numbers. The gossip made me feel like a bad person. I did not want trouble. I enjoyed my peace. I decided to hide. I stopped saying hello to Leo. If I heard his violin, I closed my windows. I used the back stairs so I did not see him in the hallway. When I left the bakery, I walked very fast past his door. I did not want to see his face. I did not want him to smile at me. I wanted to protect my quiet life. I wanted to protect my heart. I tried to forget how happy I felt when he was near. I made myself busy at the bakery. I baked more bread than usual. I worked until my feet hurt. I hoped that if I was tired enough, I would stop thinking about him. One night, I came home very late. I was very tired. I heard a loud knock on my door. It was Leo. He looked very serious. He was not smiling. I opened the door just a little bit. "Why are you hiding from me, Daisy?" he asked. His voice was low and sad. I looked at the floor. I could not look at his eyes. "Leo," I said, "I am 41, you are 24. People talk. It is not right." He stepped closer to the door. The hallway was dark. The air felt heavy between us. "I do not care about numbers," he told me clearly. "I care about you. I care about how I feel when I am near you. I like your smile. I like your quiet voice. I like everything about you." His words made my heart beat fast. I still felt afraid, but I also felt a deep, strong pull toward him. The problem was not the age gap. The problem was my fear of what people thought. 4. The storm. The city was quiet for 3 days after my talk with Leo. I tried to stay busy at the bakery. I felt nervous about seeing him again. I knew I liked him, but I was afraid of the neighbors and the large age difference. I worried about what people thought of me. Then, a big storm started. It began in the late afternoon. The sky turned dark gray very fast. The rain hit the windows hard. Soon, the thunder started. It was the loudest thunder I had ever heard. I was sitting in my living room. Suddenly, the lights went out. Everything was dark. I felt a little fear. I was alone in my apartment. The silence returned, but it was not the peaceful silence I loved. It was a heavy, lonely silence. I sat on the sofa for maybe 20 minutes. I listened to the wind outside. I wished the electric power would come back on quickly. Then I heard a sound. Knock, knock. I stood up slowly and walked to the door. I asked, "Who is there?" "It is Leo," a voice answered. "Daisy, are you okay? I saw the power went out." I opened the door a little. Leo stood there. He was holding a tall, white candle. The small light made his face glow. He looked worried. "I did not want you to be afraid," he whispered softly. "Can I come in? I have light." I opened the door wider. I felt warm immediately just seeing him. He stepped inside, and the wind closed the door behind him. We walked to the living room. Leo put the candle on the coffee table. The light danced on the walls. The storm noise seemed far away now. We sat down on the sofa. We did not talk much at first. The atmosphere was different now. It felt special. It felt quiet but not lonely. It felt romantic. Leo looked at me for a long time. His eyes were focused on mine. I remembered what he said 3 nights ago. "I care about how I feel when I am near you." He lifted his hand very slowly. He reached across the small space between us. His fingers gently touched my cheek. His hand was warm and strong. "You are beautiful, Daisy," he said. His voice was low, almost a breath. I stopped breathing for a moment. My heart beat fast. I did not move. I did not speak. He moved closer to me. I could feel the heat coming from his body. He leaned in and his lips met mine. It was the first time. The kiss was slow and careful. It was a deep, soft kiss that felt like a promise. In the darkness, with the storm outside, I finally stopped caring about the numbers. I only cared about Leo. 5. That night, the loud storm continued outside. The rain hit the windows hard. But inside my apartment, the air was warm and still. We moved slowly from the living room to the bedroom. I felt many feelings: happiness, fear, and shyness. I am 41 years old. My body has many marks and lines from time. I felt shy about showing myself. I thought about the difference in our ages again. Leo saw the worry on my face. He stopped me. He held my face gently in his hands. He smiled a soft, true smile. He kissed my eyes and my forehead. He did not look at my age or my imperfections. He only saw me. He made me feel beautiful and strong. He made me feel like I was the only person in the world. The time we spent together was slow and gentle. There was no need to rush anything. We were finally together, and everything felt right. The noise of the thunder was far away. We only heard each other. We stayed awake for hours after that. We lay close and talked quietly in the dark room. We started whispering secrets to each other. I told him about my fears. I told him about my life after the divorce and the long, silent years I spent alone. I told him I was afraid of being hurt again. He listened to every word carefully. Leo told me about his life, too. He told me that sometimes being a musician felt very lonely. He told me about his quiet dreams for the future. He shared his fear of failing his exams. Sharing these serious fears made our connection very strong. We talked until the night turned very late. The storm finally started to calm down. I rested my head on his chest. I listened to his slow, steady breathing. His arms held me tightly. I felt safe and protected. I closed my eyes and fell asleep in his arms. It was the most peaceful sleep I had known in many years. 6. The morning came too fast. The sunlight hit the window glass. It was a bright, clear light, very different from the dark storm of the night before. I opened my eyes slowly. Leo was still sleeping next to me. He looked young and peaceful. His dark hair was messy on the white pillow. I watched him breathe slowly, feeling the weight of the new day. The night felt like a wonderful dream, but the bright morning was sharp and real. When I looked at him, a cold wave of fear started deep inside my chest. We had shared a special night. But what did this mean for tomorrow? I thought about the large difference in our ages again. I remembered the harsh words of the gossiping neighbors. This relationship felt too big, too difficult, and too dangerous for the quiet life I had carefully built. I did not know how to handle this intense feeling or this young man. I needed time to think alone, away from his presence. I could not look into his eyes right now. I moved very slowly, careful not to disturb him. I slid silently out of the bed. The floor was cold on my feet. I quickly found my clothes scattered from the night before and dressed in silence. I did not know what to say. I wrote a short, simple note on the small table next to the window. It just said, "I went to work. Daisy." I looked at Leo one last time, memorizing the shape of his sleeping face. Leaving him felt like a sudden, sharp pain in my heart. It was the pain of separation, but it was also the pain of running away from something true. I grabbed my keys and left the apartment quickly. I closed the door softly, making sure the lock clicked without sound. I walked quickly through the quiet morning streets to the bakery. I turned on the bright lights. The familiar smell of yeast and flour was a comfort. I started mixing the dough. My hands worked automatically, but my mind was focused on last night. I realized how vulnerable I had become. For many years, I had built a strong wall around my heart. I believed that safety meant silence and being completely alone. Leo had taught me a difficult lesson. Vulnerability is the opposite of safety. It means opening yourself up to possible pain. But it also means opening yourself up to the possibility of great love and profound happiness. I had torn down my wall. Now, I felt exposed and afraid. I was afraid of loving him and afraid of the world judging us. I needed this time to decide if I was brave enough to keep the wall down forever. 7. The choice. The day at the bakery was very long. It was a difficult day for Daisy. She missed Leo very much. She kept looking at the clock. Every time the shop door opened, she hoped to see his friendly face. But he did not come inside. Daisy felt tired, but not from the work. She was tired of feeling afraid and hiding. She thought about the early morning. She left Leo sleeping peacefully. She ran away from him because of fear. It was fear of judgment from the neighbors. It was fear of the unknown future with a younger man. She thought about his kiss again. She remembered his kind eyes and the secrets they shared. She realized that her life had been gray and quiet before Leo arrived. Now, her life had bright, beautiful color. Why should she give up this new color just to please people who did not matter? Around noon, Mrs. Higgins came into the shop. She bought only one small loaf of bread. Mrs. Higgins looked at Daisy with cold, judging eyes. "You look very tired, Daisy," she said slowly. "Maybe you need more rest. You work too hard." This was a clear and rude comment about Leo and the night before. Daisy usually felt deep shame when Mrs. Higgins spoke about her life. But today was completely different. Daisy looked directly at Mrs. Higgins. She did not look down at the floor this time. "Thank you for your concern, Mrs. Higgins," Daisy replied calmly. Her voice was steady and strong. She felt a new, surprising strength deep inside her heart. Mrs. Higgins waited for Daisy to apologize or look guilty. Daisy did neither. Mrs. Higgins paid for her bread and left the shop quickly, looking unhappy. Daisy stood behind the counter for a long moment. She thought about all the gossip. She thought about her predictable, quiet life before Leo moved next door. She realized that her quiet life was also a very lonely life. The opinions of others were just simple, meaningless noise. Her own happiness was the only thing that truly mattered now. It was much more important than the age difference or any rude comments from her neighbors. She looked at the wall clock. It was only 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She usually closed the bakery at 6 o'clock. She did not want to wait 2 more hours. She quickly put on her coat. She flipped the sign on the door to read "Closed." She did not clean the counters perfectly. She did not care about the small details today. She needed to go home immediately. She needed to see Leo. Daisy locked the front door of the bakery. She walked very fast toward her apartment building. Her heart was beating quickly in her chest. She felt excitement and a little bit of fear, but the excitement was much, much stronger. She had finally made her choice. She decided right then to stop running away from what she truly wanted in her life. She wanted Leo. She wanted his music. She wanted the wonderful color he brought to her everyday life. She hurried up the steps of her building, ready to face him and the future. 8. Happy ending. Daisy ran up the final steps. Her breathing was heavy, but her heart felt very light. She had closed the bakery door earlier than ever before. She knew she had to find him. She saw him waiting. Leo was sitting on the top step, right outside her apartment door. He looked quiet and perhaps a little sad. When he heard her, he lifted his head. His expression changed instantly. He stood up quickly. "Daisy," he said, his voice full of relief. She walked right to him. She did not need to speak many words. She reached out her hand and put it into his. Leo squeezed her fingers tightly. "I waited here for a long time," he explained. "I was afraid you went back to being quiet. I thought you might run away again." Daisy shook her head slowly. "No, Leo, I am done running. I was afraid of the noise outside, but I was more afraid of losing you." She looked up at him. "I want to be with you. I want us to be together." She spoke the words clearly. "I do not care about the years between us. I do not care about the gossip from the neighbors." Leo pulled her into a warm hug. His arms felt very strong around her shoulders. "That is all I wanted to hear," he whispered close to her ear. "We will face them together. We are a team now." They decided to leave the apartment and enjoy the evening. It was important to walk out. They did not want to hide anymore. They walked down the stairs. Daisy felt different. She felt proud. They walked out of the heavy front door of the building. Their hands were linked together tightly. Leo smiled widely, and the world seemed brighter. They walked toward the main street. They saw Mrs. Higgins standing by the flowers. Mrs. Higgins stared at their linked hands. Daisy met her eyes. She did not look away. She smiled politely, a real, happy smile, and kept walking. The looks and the words of others had lost their power completely. They walked to the small market and bought 2 cold bottles of lemonade and some sweet strawberries. They went to the quiet city park. They sat together on an old wooden bench under the evening sky. They talked about simple, easy things. Leo told her about a difficult violin piece he was learning. Daisy told him about a new kind of chocolate bread she wanted to bake. It was a perfectly simple evening. Daisy watched Leo as he talked. He was young, yes, but he was also kind and mature. He made her feel young again, but also safe. She realized that she had been waiting for this feeling for many years. She had thought silence meant peace, but now she knew true peace meant sharing her life. Leo stood up and took her hand again. They walked back home very slowly. The streetlights came on, making soft, yellow circles on the pavement. Daisy felt a deep happiness. She was 41 years old. Leo was 24. The numbers were just numbers. Love did not look at age or history. Love only looked forward. She was finally happy. This was her new beginning.